What are your predictions for the Indian stock market, both in terms of sectors and particular stocks over the next decade or next couple of decades? I mean, that's a long time frame, but
See, regulation prohibits us from talking on individual stocks.
okay, fine.
So we don't discuss that, but we can discuss about sectors
Sectors for sure.
and the economy.
Mhm.
As we see it, with the present government re-elected now for next 5 years, and the focus continues on infrastructure development. So as I said, infrastructure is going to be a big area for development. Infrastructure would include railway infrastructure or road infrastructure, including airports also. And then government is working on power sector to increase the power capacities, solar, wind, thermal. So that is another area which is going to grow fast. Then introducing efficiencies in various industries, which are managed by government. In power sector especially, that will come in. Then I find that government is working on Atmanirbhar Bharat, so that we should be self-dependent. So we should produce everything, whatever is possible. So a lot of import substitution products will come up, and India government is pushing the industry to develop products so that we don't rely too much on imports. Then globally there is a China plus one concept going on because post COVID the supply chains were disrupted. Most companies have outsourced manufacturing to China, including Apple or Ford or any company you talk about, Tesla. So China became the factory of the world and the cheapest production center. But due to COVID, the supplies were disrupted. So there was nothing to sell because nothing was coming out of China. So the companies realized that we should have an alternate supplier also. So many factories moved out of China or added factories outside China. Many went to Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand. Some came to India also.
Mhm.
So India is also one of the beneficiary of that. So we find that is one of the large producers of Apple phones now, Apple products, and global manufacturers for Apple have come to India set up bases, and government is supporting them, incentivizing them. So we have a situation where India will become part of the global supply chain, an important link in the whole supply chain, as an alternative to China. China has been the chemical factory of the world, so most chemicals from China come very cheap. But the chemical industry in India has also taken off because during COVID there was no supply from China. The prices that actually COVID led to a supply gap. So at that time, people who had material could mint money, any amount of money. So prices of all products just skyrocketed. The freight rates went up. A freight rate went up from $50 to $500. The product prices went up from $500 to $2,000. So anyone who had product or capacity could make money. So during that period when material could not come from China, many Indian companies added capacity. They added capacity and a large capacity also. And now we find that many countries in India, many companies of India are actually competing with China also. Though China is, of course, a cheaper producer, India is competing effectively. So this COVID has actually spurred industrialization of many sectors in India, so to say. And so in a way, India is beneficiary of COVID.
Oh, to some extent.
Yeah, to a large extent, I would say.
Large extent.
Because people realize that if the world is closed, if supply lines are closed, what do? You should have everything with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is coming up. Uh, so I feel that next, say 10 years, 20 years, if you look at the Indian economy, we have a great period coming ahead. In terms of size, India attained independence in 1947, and we reached the first $1 trillion GDP, gross domestic product, the size of the economy, in 2008.
Yeah.
Which should be about say 60, 62 years.
Yeah.
To reach the first $1 trillion in 2008. That time we were discussing, okay, from 1 trillion in next 10 years we'll reach 2 trillion. So much the cake size would double, and which sectors would benefit, and what are the sunrise industries coming in, and how do you invest? Since then we have reached 3.5 trillion.
Wow. Yeah.
By now, and now the target is to reach 7 trillion in next about 8 years, 8 years. By 2032, we should be reaching 7 trillion. So from 3.5 trillion to 7 trillion. Okay, it's going to be a huge rise in size of the economy.